Okay.
So Kamala Harris, like, it was about the shit show that like Joy Reid did,
Yep.
which you said you saw, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
but there was like, I guess this week there's just been like article after article like coming out either against her or for her,
Right.
and basically there've been several articles accusing people who oppose Kamala Harris or question her as being sexist
And racist. Yes.
or racist.
Sure.
And for me, I mean, I guess, and I feel bad putting her in the same category as like Booker or Deval Patrick, because I actually think she's a lot better than those two people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I think if we're going to examine someone's record, we have to be able to examine them like on an equal standing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like,
So you
we
already
can't just-
okay. You. I heard this before. I guess you were you. Yeah, I got you. Do you have
I was
anything
drowned
else?
out by the music.
Oh, okay.
by the
No,
grooves.
we
But, I mean,
heard you. We heard you. It wasn't on the show feed actually. So I heard you clearly. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I mean, just like that. Like, look, I'm open to giving her a shot, but I also find it very interesting that Joy Reid, who proclaims to be someone who, you know, is accusing all these Bernie bros of being sexist and racist, doesn't bother to interview Nina Turner, who
I mean, look,
is,
Joy Reid is not like she is just not a credible person. I think that
she's
like,
not progressive.
Yeah, Joy Reid is a center. Joy Reid's a center right Democrat, and there's a longer project that I'm doing for the new show, which I think in some ways gets to some of the issues we're dealing with in a way that is really, really problematic, and we're going to cover it in the way that's problematic. And I'll give it a little tease here as part of my answer to your question. In South Africa, you have a really extraordinary corruption case going on with Jacob Zuma and this family called the Guptas, who are wealthy industrialists who really, it's been very, very solidly reported that they have such a level of control and symbiotic relationship with the presidency that it is not like, you know, it's the difference between an Obama and a Trump, right? Like we're talking about state capture versus just neoliberalism. Now, Jacob Zuma's the Gupta family hired a British PR firm that did crisis communications for them, and there are these troll armies on Twitter and other people defending the Guptas and the Zuma administration, talking about white monopoly capital, which is a really big problem in South Africa because there wasn't the second liberation, which was economic redistribution. So there's still massive racial inequities in poverty and wealth in South Africa. But you see the way it's being deployed on behalf of Zuma is the most extraordinarily cynical political trope imaginable, which is that basically Jacob Zuma is in kind of, there's literally hundreds of corruption investigations against him right now. You have a family of industrialists that it's almost been proven on the public record to be basically hiring and firing a finance minister. And they're creating, with the help, ironically, of a, you know, wealthy, I believe Tory-connected British PR firm, a campaign around white monopoly capital, right? So this, you know, sense of just like pure identity politics deployed to defend any and every policy is a major problem. Now, and I'm going to do a larger project on that for the new show involving the South Africa case because it's pretty extraordinary. Now, more narrowly, I think you're right. I think Kamala Harris, to me, Cory Booker is not going to happen. And Cory Booker,
no, he's too damaged.
Cory Booker undermined Barack Obama's reelect campaign the day a major part of what made Obama reelected was a brilliant campaign against Mitt Romney and Bain Capital. Cory Booker said it nauseated him. I remember that. And Cory Booker's record on Wall Street and on charter schools is just not acceptable to me. Now, I think Kamala Harris has in some ways, a very good record. And as I said, I tweeted the other day, look, if she comes out for Medicare for all, breaking up the banks, and supports the Iran deal and opposes the occupation, I'm cool with her. Now, conversely, out of the gate, whoever takes up this, progressive banner, whether it's Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, obviously is going to need to have a massive and aggressive and serious plan on prison reform and on policing issues. But at the same time, I mean, I think that we also just need to be clear that, like, the terrain of politics on economics versus on tone is a really major conflict. And right now, a lot of people are out confusing manners with solidarity. And that's a big problem. Mm-hmm. But I would say for people on our side that don't play into it. Because that's the other thing. I mean, Matt made this point, which was really smart. There's always a latent quality that's possible when somebody, ironically, I would say if I wanted to play this game, some of Joy Reid's comments about Bernie Sanders sound a little anti-Semitic. Okay? I can do that too. He's a parasite on your couch who lives without rent. Little weird. So I think that people are going to be hyper alert, and even if it's deployed cynically, people need to really watch it. Now, and then the final thing I would say is that I think the fact that, who's the guy from Maryland who's the first official Democratic candidate running? Do you remember that guy's name? It's like Joe Henley.
Schmucky LaSchmuck something?
Schmucky LaSchmuck, right? Exactly. He's a conservative corporate Democrat from Maryland who supported TPP fast track, right? Yeah, he's a blue dog. He's awful. Now, why are there not a bunch of articles in, Paste or wherever, and why are the Bernie people not coming out and slamming him? Because he is...
No one gives a shit.
Because he is like the less than Lindsey Graham of the Democratic primary, and he is going, like... In order to go nowhere would imply maybe there was some type of motion at some time. I mean, like, nothing is going to happen with that guy. The reason people are talking about Kamala Harris, Deval Patrick, and Cory Booker is because they're three serious candidates, each in different ways with some very... Like, I could tell you just as a politician, now, being from Massachusetts, I can't get with Deval. He was bad on public sector unions, and he literally works at Bain now. But Deval Patrick is a very intelligent, very charismatic, and has like some great leadership qualities and certainly some politics that I agree with. Like I like Deval. I don't like Cory, and Kamala, I think, yes, she's the most persuadable of the three. But the reason that they're getting scrutiny is a sign of great progress because they're three serious candidates. And that's a good thing. It's great that the Democratic Party has three potential frontrunners, one of whom is a woman of color and two, prominent national black leaders. That's great. And we're going to scrutinize their records. And I think that, it's just like everything else. It's like, don't play in to it, and also know that if Bernie Sanders came out tomorrow and said every human being needs oxygen to breathe, Joy Reid would say that he was being racist.
Would say,
yeah, I mean, Joy Reid is ridiculous. I mean, Joy Reid is insanely cynical in how these things are being deployed. So, and that's where the Bell Pottinger example with Jacob Zuma in South Africa, and really starting to interrogate the kind of incredible misuses of quote unquote identity politics, is something that we're going to have to do. But, we're also going to have to do it, I think, by also reinforcing the fact that, liberals, or not liberals, genuine left progressives have always been more serious about these issues. And if you went line by line of any Bernie policy package, it would have infinitely more policy benefit to women and people of color overall. And the last thing I'll say is, whether you're saying this in a pro way or a con way, if you're saying the phrase white working class, I don't take you seriously.
Working class.
It's working class. And it is predominantly because of structural racism and disparities in this country, very concretely with things like ownership and redlining and anti-labor union policies in the South. It absolutely is something that is overrepresented and over-indexed for people of color and women. And if you are going to go out and say that reining in predatory lending and paying people a living wage and giving everyone health care is anything other than central to dealing with those issues, you're being disingenuous. I mean, maybe stupid at best, more likely disingenuous. And so that's a fight we're going to have, but people need to be very thoughtful and very intelligent when they have that fight. And also, take yes for an answer. Because because I do see people coming out saying that, like, Kamala Harris is, fundamentally unacceptable, and I don't agree. I don't think she's there yet.
Yeah, I disagree.
I think Kamala Harris has been in the Senate for a couple of months. Do I think that she's a true, for real, veteran left progressive like Bernie? Obviously not. Do I think that she's Cory Booker or Hillary Clinton? I don't. And I think that, you got to listen to her and and understand her appeal, or we'll look reactionary and foolish.
Yeah, I also think when we're talking about wish lists for president, I also think like we need to get Congress too. It's so much for thinking about who our ideal president is, but unless we get the rest of the shit sorted out, it doesn't matter.
Yes. That's also the other point, is that why are we there? There are people of every variety, including a bunch of our revolution candidates of every, really, they really are doing a much better job on sort of running at every level and actually pushing through that kind of like, people need to go back, I think, and I did with Bill Fletcher Jr. We need to learn from Jesse Jackson's 1988 campaign. He threaded this well. I appreciate the call, man. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos